This week in Five Little Pigs, we finally meet the suspects. It's important in these chapters to pay attention to how Poirot is approaching each of these people. It's a masterclass in adapting to your audience. It also tells us a lot about how Poirot perceives all of them. The first person we meet is Philip Blake, Amyas Creel's friend. We're told that Poirot was at his most foreign today. He was out to be despised, but patronized. Poirot then is intentionally playing on Blake's biases. He knows that Blake will think less of him because he's not English. He also knows that he can use this to his advantage. This is an interesting technique for Poirot, but even more so for Christie. The scary outsider is a common figure in mysteries, to the point that when one author came up with a standard list of rules for detective fiction in the Golden Age, he included a prohibition against racist stereotypes. It's easy to blame the person who is not like us, the mysterious stranger or dangerous foreigner. It means that we don't have to actually consider that someone we know and trust might be dangerous. Here, of course, we know that the killer isn't an outsider. It's either Caroline Creole or one of the people that we meet in these chapters. Christie is evoking this idea of the foreign bogeyman, but in the person of her detective. For her original British readers who had held tight to their nationalism through 2 world wars, this might have actually been a bit jarring. The only person they could really trust was the one who bore the least resemblance to them. Christie uses the interview with Blake to also establish a core idea about Poirot's approach to the case. He's here to gather narratives, not just lists of facts. And he makes clear to Blake, we are speaking now from the psychological point of view. I do not want bare facts. I want your own selection of facts. Time and memory are responsible for that selection. Poirot knows that people's perspectives will influence the truth as they see it. There will be no one narrative that fully explains the case. Instead, he has to balance all the stories against each other and draw his own conclusions. With Meredith Blake, he takes a different approach. He uses this Blake's reliance on tradition to manipulate him. He presents recommendations, social, not professional, from people who Blake would respect, well-respected, wealthy people with standing in society. Just as he played on Philip's biases, he's using Meredith's as well. He also takes advantage of some sibling rivalry to persuade Meredith to produce a narrative, even convincing him that it was Meredith's idea to begin with. Then finally we meet the so-called girl in the case, Elsa Greer, now Lady Didisham. Pay close attention to how Elsa's rooms are portrayed. Christie described them as money, money everywhere, of taste, not so much. Elsa is a woman who is all about appearances, but beneath the surface there might be something else, and it may not be as pretty. We get an interesting contrast when we move from Elsa's home to that of the governess, Cecilia Williams. Her room is described as an aesthetic pale gray, with various reproductions of important paintings hanging on the wall. Here is taste, money not so much. For the first time when talking to Miss Williams, Poirot approaches a witness with honesty. Up until this time, he's been lying to all of them. As Christie describes it, it had been said of Hercule Poirot by some of his friends and associates that he prefers lies to truth and will go out of his way to gain his ends by means of elaborate false statements. Think about what this means, not just for the characters in the book, but for us. Poirot is our main entry into this world, and he is a strategic liar. We know that we can't trust the others. Can we trust our detective? Pay attention to what is said and not said as you continue forward in the book. Finally, we meet Angela Warren, and finally we meet another character who believes in Carolyn's innocence. Importantly, though, she was little more than a child at the time of the murder. Can we trust her instincts over that of the professionals who investigated the case? We're given an important bit of backstory about Carolyn here. When Angela was a child, Carolyn hurt her badly in a fit of anger. We've heard variations on this story before, but Angela's assessment of it is important. We'll continue from here to read the narratives of each of these suspects in their own words. Compare what they say to what you already know. How are their biases shaping their stories? What assumptions might they have made? What clues might they have missed? And can you find them? Happy reading, and trust no one.